Hey, Vern, it's me, Ernest. Hey everybody, Vampire Lord 1024, and I'm going to be reviewing Ernest Saves Christmas. It's a pretty interesting Christmas movie. So, like my other Christmas movie reviews, well, I should just say movie reviews in general I've done so far. I'm probably going to leave a bunch of stuff out in case a lot of people haven't seen said movie that I'm reviewing. Hopefully you all like my little setup here. I thought this is what probably Ernest would do. You know, he probably would wear his hat. You know, and he'd probably put his Santa Claus hat on top of it, maybe. Just seems like something, you know, Jim Varney's character would do. So anyways, the movie here basically begins with Ernest trying to attack the cab because that's his job. Well, I mean, of course, before that, there's like people singing like Christmas carols, and then, you know, for like a minute or two, and then the movie finally starts. It's about 92 minutes, so a little over an hour video. And yeah, he is driving this other guy to the airport, and you know, he has a bit of a time to get him there, you know, and anyways, it's not important, you know, you never see this guy again throughout the entire film. That Ernest is taken to the airport at the beginning of the movie here. And he accidentally runs over this other person's luggage that's on the ground. He's like, boom, you know, just like ramps right over. He's like, ah! That part was pretty cool though. And their luggage just goes everywhere. And then the people notice it. And Ernest is helping this guy who became ridiculously stiff because Ernest, you know, he's really kind of, he's a good driver, but he's kind of bad, you know. He was making this other guy go lean like that, and the other guy's just like, you know, his legs were like kind of like this. I know you can't really see, but and he was like stiff, and then he like falls out of the car. So Ernest has to pick up this guy who I'm pretty sure they just used the dummy for it. And he puts him through the luggage thing, which is pretty funny and kind of odd. I don't really know if anybody in real life would go through that. I wouldn't, if I was to go to an airport. But anyways, there's this elderly man that gets off the plane and starts talking with this other dude who says he's from like Canada or some up north place. And he's like, you know, basically telling him that, you know, he is looking for someone that, you know, wants to, because he's getting too old to be, well, basically he's Santa Claus. He really, you know, he's the real deal. And he wants to find another guy younger than him to, as he says, carry the torch. Because he just getting kind of old, and, you know, he said that he just doesn't want to do it no more. You know, wants to enjoy his life. And so that's what Santa Claus is there, and Ernest happens to run into Santa Claus. You know, he's coming out of the thing, and Ernest is coming one way. And he's like, hey, get in! And so they did, and then the guy is chasing Ernest for running over their luggage, never catches him. And then Ernest turns around and says, hey, you kind of look like Santa Claus. And he says, that's because I am him. And then Ernest looks back and says, that's because you am him. And he's like, really? You know, and they talk, and oh, right, Santa Claus, I forgot, because he, you know, his eyes are kind of sensitive to light, you know, because he normally delivers presents at night. Ernest gives him a pair of glasses. Here you go, Santa Claus. Okay. Thanks, Ernest. So Santa Claus is in the back wearing his old 3D glasses, and there is a tree that happens to fall out of this truck full of other Christmas trees. So Ernest just he stopped. Yep, we're back. Okay, oh, stop. Okay, all right, get out. Let's pick up the tree. All right, okay. Watch out, Santa Claus. Literally, and he yeah, like I said, Ernest grabs the tree and throws it in there. He breaks the back passenger seat window next to Santa Claus, and God, I can't even wear these. My eyes are going funny. You know, fun fact. If anybody has seen my Friday the 13th movie collection video that I've done a few years ago, this is actually the same pair of 3D glasses that I wore in that video. Yeah. So. Also, these would make a pretty good Zeke from Zombies Ate My Neighbor's cosplay. Am I right? I just need the blonde hair, you know, I need a skull shirt. Well, I have a skull shirt. Anyways, getting way off topic. So, Ernest takes Santa Claus to the Orlando Children's Museum or something like that. And, you know, Ernest goes along his way, and, you know, before he gets there, he runs into this girl who comes out of this restaurant, and this guy's like, hey, you know, you didn't pay your bill. She's like, well, you know, my brother and I always go out to eat, and, you know, he always says he has to go to the bathroom, you know, after, you know, we get done eating. And then every time he says that, basically, he just walks out and leaves me to pay the bill, you know. And then he's like, yeah, the guy for the restaurant's like, yeah, no, I'm not buying that bullshit. And so then, you know, she says, oh, look, there's my brother. And then she says whatever his name is, and then she runs. And then she gets into Ernest's cab, and then he takes off. He drops off Santa Claus at the Children's Museum, or wherever. And Santa Claus goes off on his thing, and he's trying to find this guy called Joe Carruthers. Because Santa Claus says that this Joe Carruthers guy, who had this kids TV show, would be perfect for the next Santa Claus, right? And so he goes there, and yeah, you know, tries to talk with him, and then this guy Joe's agent comes up. He's like, who is this guy? Why is he bothering you? And you know, he's like, I don't know, he just wants to talk or something. And then then Santa Claus says, well, my name is Santa Claus. And they all look at him like, dude, you're nuts. And then this Joe's agent Marty says, Mr. Santos. They call Santa Claus Mr. Santos a lot in the movie. You know, because Joe Carruthers' agent Marty is a complete douchebag, seriously. Doesn't even bother to ask, yes, real Santa Claus. And if that's his real name, he just assumes that he is not Santa Claus. So, and then basically, you know, Children's Museum's closing or whatever, and Santa Claus tries to talk to Joe Carruthers again, and then douchebag Marty ends up calling the cops and ends up getting old Santa Claus thrown in jail because he's delirious. And oh, you know what? It reminds me of that John Candy movie that I watched. That was a pretty damn good movie, by the way, called Delirious. You should all check that out. Completely off topic, by the way, but oh, hey, and if you want to see another John Candy movie review of mine with Steve Martin in it, I suggest you go watch my Planes, Trains, and Automobiles movie review, which was also my first movie review here on my lovely YouTube channel. Anyways, way off topic. So yeah, Santa Claus gets thrown in jail, and then we're shown Ernest and this girl who says her name's Harmony Star, but it really ain't. You know, she's just a young girl that, you know, says she's gonna be like she's a famous pop star or whatever, but she's lying. She's actually a runaway from what the like her story of the movie is she's a runaway, you know, and basically Ernest gets fired at his taxi job, and his boss throws Santa's sack that Santa left in the back of the taxi cab. So Ernest takes his truck, goes in, and leaves Santa's sack in the back of his pickup truck in the back, and then they go to Vern's buddy's house. Got that out. So Ernest and Harmony Star go to a friend of Ernest's, Vern. Now, if you've ever seen any of the Ernest movies or Ernest commercials, you'll always know that Ernest always talks to this unseen person called Vern. He's like, "Hey, Vern." And then, he normally talks about a product. He's like, Mountain Dew's so good, Vern. Have you ever tried Mountain Dew, Vern? Know what I mean? And basically, you, the viewer, is basically this Vern guy. And Ernest is basically coming into his house, setting up his Christmas tree, making a fucking mess of everything. Trying to just get this like real tree up and put it up. He's accidentally ripping out the wires of in the wall. He brings this light down, all crashed on the table, and then the tree falls on Ernest's ass. Really funny bit. And they're all talking to Vern. They're like, "Hey, Vern." And so yeah, and then Ernest, goes outside, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I still have Santa's sack with me in the back of my pickup truck." So then he's like, "Should I?" And then he opens it. He's like, "Oh, he is him," meaning that the guy that he picked up wasn't just an older man, that was crazy and thought he was Santa Claus. He was him, because he am him. And so he tries to go the next day to give back Santa his magical sack full of toys and stuff. He goes to the children's museum, and he asks the lady, "Is there was there an elderly man here yesterday?" And she's like, "What was his name?" He's like, "Santa Claus." She's like, "Pardon?" He's like, "Santa Claus." He's like, "Santa Claus." And all these like little kids were there, and they were like giggling. And Ernest was like, "Well, I'm his best friend, so there." And she says, "Well, he got thrown in jail." And Ernest's like, "What?" And like I said, Joe Carruthers is agent in the movie, Marty. He's a complete douchebag, seriously. He's the most unlikable character in the entire film. He is the villain of the film. So, basically, Ernest and Harmony Star basically come up with a plan to get Santa Claus out of jail. So Ernest dressed up like this really well-dressed guy, or governor, or whatever, and he has like the governor's niece, Harmony Star, the runaway girl, with him. And then they basically lie to the cops, saying, "Well, we got to see, we gotta, want to see the guys in jail." And then Ernest looks around, and he's like, "Who's this old man?" And he's like, "Well, he thinks his name's Santa Claus." And he's like, "Really?" And this and that. And kind of an overused joke that Harmony Star uses is this really how government, or does that, let's see, is that really how government works, or does that, or whatever. And, she keeps overusing it, and Ernest ends up convincing the two cops, that the guy who thinks he's Santa Claus, he really is Santa Claus. They take him and they basically bust him out of jail for free. And yeah, you know. And then basically, Santa's reindeer happened to be arriving at the airport, and these two guys are looking at this thing. They're like, "That's a E," and it's like a M or an F or whatever. And you know, they're all like leaning like this, or like looking at the thing, or like, you know, and trying to figure out. There's like, hold for helper elms, E. So, yeah, then they basically figure out that this thing in the box is, I know I spoiled it, reindeer, because one reindeer literally fucking punches part of the box, and this fat black-haired guy's like, ah! You know, and he's like, you know, he does this eye thing like this. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to, but, and that's another kind of reoccurring thing that happens in the movie. So, they bust him out, Santa Claus out, and now they are looking for their brothers because, you know, Santa Claus needs to talk to Joe because he wants him, like I said a few minutes ago, to be the new Santa Claus because, you know, he's kind of tired of being Santa Claus, you know, and he's woke. So, yeah, basically they have a little bit of a hard time trying to track Joe down. They eventually do. Santa Claus eventually goes to a movie set. Oh man, let's snake a bit though. Come on, you like this? And go, I had to do that bit. I would have dressed up like Ernest there, but I seriously don't have all the hillbilly outfit to wear, so can't do that bit. And Santa Claus wanders on this stage called Christmas Sleigh. And, you know, he sees Joe, you know, acting out, basically a film within a film. And he's like, you know, doing this, doing that. And then he opens up his door and this alien comes out. And then he grabs his fake gun. He's like, die, you son of a... He's like, son of a... He's like, oh, I can't say it, man. He's like, you know, because I've been doing this children's show and I know they haven't heard me ever say the word bitch. You know? And then the director's like, well, these kids probably heard everybody say the word bitch, you know, B-I-T-C-H, you know? Why not? And he's like, well, I can't do it, you know, it's just not in me. And they all wrap up and, you know, Santa Claus tries to talk to Joe again, and douchebag Marty comes around and kind of screws things up. He's like, oh, let me talk to him. And he's like, I'm doing a thing called Christmas Sleigh, a movie. And the director's like, Christmas Sleigh? He's like, what's there in here to, you know, for this alien? And he's like, well, the alien comes here to terrorize the children. And Santa Claus is like, terrorize the children? You know? And like, Santa's like getting worked up. He's like, no, not sleigh, like, you know, Santa's sleigh that he drives or flies, you know, throughout the world delivering presents to kids on Christmas Day. No, sleigh, S-L-A-Y. And Santa's just like, ugh. Basically, yeah, trying to get wrapping up for this, like a president. But, you know, basically, Ernest goes and gets the reindeer, the elves actually come, let's see, like 2 elves. Ernest ends up screwing things up by running over these like spikes, by trying to get this rider moving truck out of the airport or whatever. So Ernest somehow gets Santa's sleigh out, gets the reindeer, like the people there are like, you know, like, oh, we got a, you know, unidentified object on the runway. And then Ernest just goes all over the world and all crazy, flying the sleigh. And, you know, of course, Harmony, she runs away with Santa's real sack, and Santa ends up having a bag full of feathers. Of course, Santa goes to Joe Corona's house, you know, tries to convince Joe still one more time to be Santa Claus, and, you know, Joe ends up shaving off his beard. Santa's like, why did you do that? Why did you do that to yourself, you know? And Harmony eventually comes back. You know, she goes all the way to a train station because she wants to run away farther, you know, go to Miami. And she eventually, you know, has a change of heart, and she ends up going back and giving Santa Claus, you know, the actual sack. Santa Claus tossed the sack full of feathers when he's waiting on a bus. And Joe's at this meeting, you know, he obviously is basically about to get fired and all that. And then he, you know, sees something, and it's basically Ernest is, zoom, you know, all over the fucking place outside. He's like, he is real. And then Joe says, Merry Christmas, you know, when he goes and talks to Santa Claus, you know, he makes it there. Harmony's running back from the train station, you know, and Ernest eventually just lands, you know. Joe gets to be Santa Claus because they shake on it. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a real good movie. Oh, and I did forget to mention, though, that Ernest dresses up like a woman, whatnot. And Harmony eventually says that she calls her mom, and she's going to be going home, and that she won't be seeing Ernest. And Santa Claus passes on his powers, like I said, to Joe. Joe becomes new Santa Claus. And Joe lets Ernest fly the sleigh again, and the elves are like, no, we don't want Ernest. He's crazy. He doesn't know how to drive a sleigh. And then Ernest was like, well, we're gonna let Harmony, or well, Santa Claus says her real name was Pamela, be a honorary elf, and they go fly it, and then pretty much the movie ends. Santa Claus goes on a date with this one receptionist lady from the Children's Museum, and it has a happy ending, though. Oh, and major spoiler warning at the end. When you think it's all over, you see those two guys again. They're like M or whatever. That says F. It's like, no, hold for E Bunny, and then they come back like this, and then boom, you see this fucking like giant rabbit ears pop out. It's like, ah, you know, and his eyes does the thing, then bam, the movie is over. Oh, wow. That was my review on Ernest Saves Christmas. I still have to do Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3. And maybe Mr. Popper's Penguin. So, I actually like that movie, Ernest Saves Christmas, you know? It's funny, you know. I like the bit where Ernest was flipping the pancakes, or, you know, and just throwing them. You know, there's a bit of funny parts in the movie. You know, it's silly. And if you like the Ernest movies, or if you've never seen any of the Ernest movies, I would recommend this movie. I probably didn't mention about any of the other, well, my Elf movie review, I probably didn't mention it. My Planes, Trains, and Automobiles one, I didn't mention it. And my Home Alone 1 review, I didn't mention it. But I would recommend all these movies, of course. I mean, that's just because I've watched these movies a lot. You know, Ernest Saves Christmas growing up, you know, I mean, well, I probably didn't see it until maybe 2000 something. I know it's a 1988 movie, and obviously I'm not an 80s kid, so I didn't see it when it first came out, so. Yeah, anyways, please subscribe. Please thumb this video up. You can share my video up here. Yeah, up here. And you can follow me on my social medias listed below. Oh, how do you like that, by the way, huh? That's the Pac-Man tin sign that my friend Jacob Beals sent to me early 2019, last year, in my very first fan package. It's a really cool Pac-Man tin sign. You know, I really like it. Of course, if you do want to send me fan packages, all I ask is just be subscribed to my YouTube channel, you know, be active, you know, try to watch my videos, you know. follow me on Facebook and Twitter and be active on those. And if you did all that, send me a direct message on Twitter or ask for my Discord name and send me a message there. Tell me you've done all that stuff that I just mentioned, and send me a fan package of stuff, and I could always let you know what I'm into and what not to send me, as I don't want like duplicates of something else. But anyways, sorry, this is probably a long video because I had a lot to talk about in this video. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Oh, and this was all pre-recorded as of December 12th, 2020. By the way, I edited this so it's premiering. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.